Hello guys, and welcome back to another one yet again. This was Bathurst Group 4's. I think this was our second try at it. Qualified in third position with a 211.6, I think. Maybe a 211.5, not too sure. I think it quite possibly could have been a 0.5. We're starting again the longer pit stops in this one, making it not really beneficial to do a pit stop in most of the races this time. Quite happy with our start, as we lost the slipstream behind us straight away. Immediately we were like, oh my goodness, this is a fantastic chance for us to open up a bit of a gap. We got it better than the first two ahead of us, but we still didn't get that very good either. Very hard to judge the amount of grip on the inside there on the opening lap on the cold mediums. But things have started very, very nice for us once again. This was a fuel burner and a tyre saver. We run the race all to the rear, 5 to the rear, just in hope. I was very nervous. We almost thought we were dead there in the very first lap. The heart rate went up there quite a bit. We just about managed to save it. Although when we came around here, I do believe we were slightly disappointed, because that mistake has left us just out of the slipstream, and we were hoping to create a bit of a gap on these guys behind by hanging on to the slipstream. But yeah, it was a big tyre saving race for myself. Having the first lap was very, very nervous, driving with it all to the rear, and then we seemed to get the flow. It was kind of a bit like that in our practice runs as well, only I'm starting to believe that when you do practice lobbies and you start a race, you don't have cold tyres the way you do in an FIA race. The tyres were definitely more slippier now. 2 or 3 times I've noticed it, that in the ordinary lobby practices the tyres must not be cold, because they have a bit more grip at the start of a race. I think we were just in the slipstream, but the car in front dropped us from it again because he was in a much stronger slipstream. But bounce outside, we do have a bit of pressure on the ass area starting to mount. We were a bit nervous at this point of the race, as there was 3 guys. It's basically there's a 6-way battle for the win at the moment. Even the guy in 6th place should still be thinking to himself, I can win this. We're looking at that kind of queue ahead of him. Again, nice and patient in the downhill sector. Just sometimes the slower you go down that, the faster it is. And again, we're almost in the slip. It was ever so frustrating. Again, just out of it. And now we'll look behind us, and an incident has went down. This guy has drove up on us pretty fast. We immediately would like to hand that stuff over, tell him straight away. We'd take a wee short shift, so he hopefully gains a bit of trust in us. And we're hoping now that he can help us create a bit of a gap on anyone else behind us. And if we are able to nudge him on and give him a wee push now and again, he could bring us back to the guy at the front and back into the battle. a skip as and when we can. This was a long race. It was an enjoyable long race. It was a 35-minute race. In the end, this one turned out to be. And we're focusing a whole lot here. Whenever he was behind us, we're not able to drive how we want to drive. We're wanting to be nice and easy on the brakes, nice and early on our braking areas, and we're trying to look after the tyres as best we can and hope that in the last half a dozen laps we're going to have a slightly stronger car than anyone else around us. That's what we're hoping. We're in a lovely position at the moment, and this guy who we have allowed past us is indeed bringing us back to the battle. He was almost back in the slipstream there when he made himself a small mistake on the downhill section. Still pressure behind us, but not enough pressure to where we'll have to brake late and stuff. I hate having guys behind me when I'm trying to look after my tyres and stuff. They're just making you have to. You can see how early we lift there, and we're nice and easy on the brakes and what have you. We've lost a wee bit of ground again into the guys out front. A small skip once again as and when we can, and we'll give him a wee nudge to let him know, hit your own line. At this point I still wanted first place. I didn't want to have a race for third. I still wanted a first place, and this guy is dragging us slowly but surely back up into the battle. Another wee skip as and when we can, and I think the battle was back on. He was back in the slipstream, and it's a four-way race now, and that can only help us stretch out another wee second or so on the guy behind. Not sure how fast the AMG is in a straight line. He seemed to do not too bad. It was pretty good in the acceleration. He worried about us there a wee bit, just because he must have seen us in the radar coming at him with more speed. But even just the fact that he seen, we never showed him a nose to the inside and we brake nice and early, he should have more confidence than ever in his now. He should be hitting his own lines. He knows that I'm not thinking of passing him. I'm thinking of that yellow car at the front, the same as he's thinking. Again, we'll give him a couple of wee friendly nudges to let him know, please don't go defensive, stay in that slip, because they were threatening to get out of that once again. Again, another wee skip as and when we can, as there is something else I would like to show you at the end of this one as well. Some more absolutely disgraceful driving from a fellow YouTuber. We've already had a couple of run-ins with him. I'm sure if you've watched any of his stuff, you'll know who I'm talking about. It's Mr. PG Motorsport. He was in this race as well. He got a DNF, so I thought I'd go back to figure out what went wrong with him. And this is now the third time, guys, and I'm apologies to any of you who like the guy and think that he's a good driver. He is a good driver. He's a very, very fast driver, but he will do anything in order to get a win, or he will just sometimes lose the plot and decide, I don't want to race here. But he doesn't just quit out and end his own race. He tries to destroy anybody and everybody's race that he can before he quits out. At the moment, on Gran Turismo Sport, there is no penalties. Basically, you need to do something really, really ridiculous in order to get penalties. Believe it or not, even with no penalties on, PG Motorsport managed to get himself a DR reset in this race. That's how disgraceful the man was. As I say, check him out on YouTube. He's clearly a pretty big YouTuber. His videos are viewed thousands of times, but he does not show all the stuff and all his behaviour in his videos. He's you might have heard me saying in the past, I do not believe that you should be allowed to report people or allowed to have anybody banned. However, if there was such a thing as a dirty driver not being allowed to play this game, this guy would be banned. 100% he would be banned. There is no sportsmanship with the guy whatsoever. You expect to find these kind of guys down in B lobbies and in C lobbies every now and again. When you're up in A+ rated lobbies, you really do not expect to come up against people who race the way he races. And he's very, very smart with his racing as well, as you've seen in the last video where he punted us off in the last corner. It's hard to try to read that, because he could now have his 9 or 10 races in a row where he's very fair. He knows how to drive clean, and he knows how to be fair. But the fact that we know what he's capable of doing, it's impossible to give the man any kind of trust. I'm almost feeling like I'm at the point with him that if I'm on track with him, I feel like I'm going to have to try to take him out. I really do. I'll end up slowing myself down and ruining my own race. But he cannot be trusted in a battle at all. So yeah, I would prefer, hopefully Gran Turismo will bring back some kind of penalty system. I enjoyed it better with the penalties. I know that it was a terrible penalty system, but you just have to drive and not make any contact then. Smart drivers with very good awareness of what's going on around them are able to do that, and they'll learn how to do that. I would definitely prefer some sort of penalty system. Otherwise, we are going to see more and more guys like Mr. PG coming through into the A lobbies and A+ lobbies. I would like some sort of penalty system back, and then hopefully drivers like him will just never be up in good lobbies, because they'll always be getting in fights and in the arguments on the track and losing their temper and so on, and they just will end up in a lower ranked lobby. I'm not sure how Mr. PG was coping with the penalty system whenever it was on strong, but I would be very, very surprised if he was coping good with it at all. And you can see in this one, 7 laps gone, and we're very frustrated. We're getting a bit worried now about the guy behind us. As we jump out, we'll get some proper views of this Sexy Livery Award winner, created by Mr. Tom, aka Blue Ukulele. Thank you very much, as always. We're almost stopping thinking now about the top 3 ahead, and this guy is catching us, and we immediately start thinking, ha ha ha, will you please be my very own secret weapon of perhaps mass destruction? Who knows? So as soon as he gets up on us, he's in the slipstream now. We'll bounce on board. You can see we put our We put our hazards on. We take a short shift here so as he gets a run. We take another short shift. Even a small lift, to make sure that he knew we weren't going to have any side by side. And just like that, we have released our very own secret weapon. And he's a VQS secret weapon. That's the real letter guy. And again, even if it all goes wrong, he can only help us. He was catching us if I had to get into any kind of race with that guy at all. There's more fast guys just on back the road there. It could still all go wrong in this one. We're just trying to consolidate as best as, I think that's a word. I'm not sure if I've just made up a word there or not. We're trying to stay in the top 5 and make it as comfortable as possible. And again, we almost lose the slipstream, I think, as we go around. Just about managed to hang on to him, which is very, very important, because without his slip, this guy behind us is going to catch us too. We're punching a wee bit above our weight in these kind of lobbies. And again, we'll hang on to the slipstream, and he is, believe it or not, dragging us back up towards the leaders. The leaders are just on up around the corner there, and there's a 3-way battle about to go down. And there was an incident on the way down there, and it turned in. Let's actually go back and see what happened to that guy there, Mr. Cauldron. Oh, he's clipped the wall. He's off. Oh, how many times can you almost save it before it all goes wrong in a big way? My goodness, that was unlucky, sir. You almost saved that stuff several times. One more time, that's worth another look at. Unlucky. Clipped the wall. Dropped himself a wheel. And he must think, oh, I've saved it. That's alright, I've saved it. No, I've got no. God damn it. Why me? And back down he goes. He clearly had a bit of pace, but right, so back on board with ourselves again. Still in the slipstream, and it's a battle of bubbly in front of us there. Once again, on with the skip, as and when we can. Again, you see us nudging him, because the leader is still just on up the road. We have been driving very cautiously, trying to look after our tyres. Let's actually have a look and see what our tyres look like. His tyres was better than mine. I thought during this race that I would have looked half favourite towards the end. Other guys on their tyres. The guy in third is looking the best on his tyres at the moment. You can see, nice and patient, trying not to make the guy nervous. Just want him to hit his own lines, as he is saving us at the moment from this guy here, who's trying to hunt us down. Back on board with ourselves. I think this was his tour lap that he did, where I was almost convinced in my head. I was like, oh, he's struggling on his tyres. He missed 2 or 3 apexes and one and there as well. He went out and clipped the wall. I was thinking to myself, he's struggling on his tyres to turn the car. It's only now that I'm watching the replay back, but I see that his tyres was in better condition than ourselves. Outside we go, so we can keep an eye on what's going down along the straight. You can see the guy behind is indeed making his way back, slowly but surely. Quite lucky that we had this here slipstream. We were doing well just to cling on to this guy's slipstream. He definitely had a bit more pace than us. On the go, and we'll lose that slipstream, which is when the time starts coming down to the guy behind. I think with 3 laps to go, he was just under 3 seconds, 2.9 behind us, but he was consistently, for 2 laps in a row, he took us almost a full second, about 8-9 tenths of a second out of us, as we started to struggle with the tyres and miss a wee apex here and there. You'll see him in the background starting to close us down. We were starting to get worried. We were thinking, oh dear, it's going to be a top 5. We still would have been over the moon with a top 5, because we always get a pit party for the top 5 from the team. But it is always nicer. A big number 20 on the door as well, so we must have improved our ratings quite a lot. Also in this race, and you can see we're just kind of being left on our own at the moment. Our full focus is all on the guy behind, as he hunted us down by almost a second a lap. And we shall actually go on board with him as he's hunting us down, because I'd like to see what's going to happen. Oh, and there was an incident as well, that's right. At one point he came back to us. Yep, he had a penalty. He scooped the wall, picked himself up a half second or a second penalty, and almost allowed us back into his slipstream, but not quite. We were just out of it. So still feeling very vulnerable. 2 laps to go, and now he's like 1.9, I believe it was, behind me, and my head was just like, he's going to be in the slipstream in the last lap. He's going to be thrown. And the last lap, we all know everyone is prepared to do aggressive moves on the last lap, but there is what opened it up again for us and released the pressure from the ass area. And on we went. We'll come round, because nothing else happens. We just bring it home like a granny. So we'll do, and there we go, guys. Before we do anything else, let's go back, and here is Mr. PG Motorsport, fellow YouTuber. Check him out. Tell him Scotty Senior sent you, and Scotty Senior says you are a dirty dog. He is definitely the dirtiest dog I have met on this game. I went back just to watch to see how his race went, as he had a DNF, and I wasn't sure what went down. Right, we'll have a wee skip as and when we can. You can see nothing has happened to the guy at the moment at all. He drops himself a wheel, loses it. Must be quite upset and annoyed now in that car. Although he should be upset and annoyed at himself. I think we would all agree no one has done anything on him in this race at the moment. And he's got a couple of guys behind him. We'll go back on board with him and see the sort of behaviour and driving that you get from this guy. I really do not want to see him in my FIA races. He makes me very nervous every time we're in a race with him. And as I say, he's one of those guys that's impossible to know if he's in a good mood that day, where he's going to drive very, very clean. Because I have had a number of races with him where he's been very, very clean. But he's just unreadable. You're not able to have any kind of trust. I certainly wouldn't try to pass this guy around the outside. Not a chance of it. And don't worry, we're not here. He rage quits, so we're not going to be here for another full race. You see, totally missed times. His braking there messes up awfully there. His own mistake yet again. No other vehicles or anything has had any kind of contact or anything. There we thought he's dropped the wheel. You have to give the man the benefit of the doubt there. He hasn't tried to turn into that guy. Let's say that he didn't try to turn into that guy. We do have to give him the benefit of the doubt. He dropped the wheel and the back end spun out. So that's accidental. However, that guy has done nothing on him. That right there is the sort of driving this guy is prepared to do. Absolutely disgraceful driving. No sportsmanship from the guy whatsoever. And as I say, this is I think the third time now that I've seen this sort of stuff from him. I'm sure he's done it many more times than that, and he gets himself a 3-second penalty for that one, which is good to see. I'm glad to see Gran Turismo did hand him a 3-second penalty for that. They're doing something right. I'm not sure what he's thinking of here. I think he's had a huge big brain fade there or something. One more time we'll look at it just to show you how embarrassing that is. And how do we know he's embarrassed? Because when we jump outside you can see the big red face. You can't hide a big face like that. Look at it, bright red, and look at he does again. Back again. The guy has just lost the plot. No one has touched him or anything in this race at all, and he's just trying to ruin other people's races. As I say, I do not agree with anyone being banned or being reported. If it was up to me, you wouldn't be allowed to report people, because I think it opens up a situation to where popular people can get a lot of friends and a lot of reports all sent out. So I really don't agree. However, if there was any kind of proper rules, I mean, in this game, to where you were not allowed to race if you raced like this guy would not be allowed to race. 100% he would not be allowed to race, which is, look at that again, an absolute disgraceful behaviour. I cannot believe this man's a fellow YouTuber. I've never heard him speaking, and there he goes. He leaves just like that. Absolutely disgraceful. Only stayed in the race to try and destroy other people's races. Fellow YouTuber. Very, very fast. Really fast. But for me, he is the dirtiest person I have ever met on this game, without a doubt. Thank you very much for watching. Keep an eye out. That's, as I say, that's like the third video that we've had with an incident of him. I think I'm going to have to create a new playlist all about Mr. PG Motorsport, because he is for sure someone I am afraid of. He's in the book of people I do not want to see in an FIA race. Thank you guys, and we'll catch you in the next one.